Wrong hole.
That's what she said. All right, test it. Now it sounds like it's really loud over here, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong
Hey, how are
hole.
you? Okay, got it.
The wrong hole. Sorry, folks. Wrong hole.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Woo.
Unfortunately, we had no sound for the first 5 minutes, so everybody missed my ghost story.
But everybody, here's the problem now. Because we have a PA, everybody here could hear us.
Everybody heard my ghost story here.
Right.
Well, thanks for letting us know, folks. All right, she needs to turn, but you need to turn it down, Tammy, because it's like
Yeah, you got to turn it down on your device. If you're on set, you got to turn it down on your device.
Excellent. Okay. Hi, everyone. Now we can start all over.
Yeah.
Sorry it's so dark. We were talking about daylight savings time, and because it is light outside, now it is dark on the set, and we will have to rectify that with a ring light or something.
Yeah.
Joe Resevich says that's the best you've ever sounded.
Really? Yeah, because he couldn't hear us.
Hear.
Smart ass.
He's hilarious.
I'm gonna put the tonight's special is $5 drafts in celebration of St. Patrick's Day. I'm gonna put that up. I'm gonna leave that up a little bit. So if you're so inclined, you can come down.
Yeah.
To Pottstown United Brewing Company and take advantage of the $5 drafts for St. Patrick's Day.
I might take advantage of one very shortly.
I'm currently taking advantage of one.
I needed a little caffeine boost. It's been a long week. Week after vacation is always rough, right?
So tell everybody about your vacation. You went on vacation.
Went on vacation.
You went down to Florida.
Went to Florida to see my folks.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother also lives a couple of blocks away. So I got to see my brother and his family and meet my great niece, who I've never met before. She's 2, and it was just the first time I ever met her, Josephine. And it was a very relaxing week. We did nothing. Well, we went to see my uncle, who I haven't seen in 10 years, and we went rock climbing at a rock climbing gym, and that was it. I read a bunch of books. I drank an awful lot
of alcoholic beverages.
Yes. And we ate really well.
Yeah.
My parents are still not comfortable going out, so we ate at home every night, which was fine.
Okay.
And it was just very relaxing and very nice. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for a very relaxing and very economically feasible vacation.
Thank you.
And Harrison came down too. So Harrison.
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Met us
Harrison,
down there.
Was he on spring break?
Yes.
And when do they go back?
He went back. So when we flew out on Saturday, he flew back to Pittsburgh, and we flew back here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems that Carnegie Mellon and Temple are on the same schedule. Because Andrew went back early.
Okay.
And then went back early. You see what I mean? Andrew got out early and then went back earlier.
Gotcha.
Right?
For break.
Yeah.
Right.
And Harrison was still out. But he was in school when Andrew was out.
Gotcha.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think.
How's
he live? How's Andrew like and live in the apartment? Good?
Yeah,
he's
doing good. Doing good.
Good.
Yeah, I didn't have
doing well.
I didn't have much doubt about my boy. He's handling it very well.
We prepare our kids here in the hood, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And his neighborhood's a little hoodie, but he's like, I grew up in Pottstown.
He's like, whatever, bring it. Show me something that's going to scare me.
Yeah, he's like, I'm good.
Right.
He's like, I'm safe. I know what to do.
Yeah.
I know where to go, when to go.
Right.
I know what not to do, what to do.
I'd much rather have our kids grow up having real world experiences than going out there and being shell shocked in a city.
Off the turnip truck.
Mm-hmm.
So he's good. He knows the train system. He knows the bus system.
Nice.
He does have his car
down
there.
Do they get free bus pass down there?
Yeah, he has some kind of bus pass. And he does use
great.
it.
Most of the cities that have colleges in their city have free passes for the kids. So Harrison takes the bus.
Yeah, that's
I asked him, I said, do you want money for an Uber? Because his flight got delayed on his way back to Pittsburgh. Do you want money for an Uber so you can treat yourself from the airport? He's like, no, I'll take the bus. It's free.
Take the bus. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that unfortunately we didn't have that when I was in college. I had to pay for the bus, but the kids now have
with actual real money.
With actual real money,
right?
That I had
or
to go
tokens?
Work
Did
for.
You get like
tokens?
I just meant
would
that
get
like
a pass. I would get a paper pass. You had to go to this thing. It was machined and would kick out a little receipt
with a strip on it.
Yeah,
yeah. So when I lived in Chicago, they were still using tokens for the bus.
Had those too.
Go and get a roll of tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could even put money on the thing. It had a dollar changer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So That's what I did. Anyway, St. Patrick's Day. It's happy St. Patrick's Day. Come down to Pottstown United Brewing Company for $5 drafts.
And delicious food.
Listen, while we have some people's attention, I do want to talk about a couple of things that were coming up in the future. Today's show, we don't have a guest, so it's just going to be me and Amy. We have some St. Patrick's Day history for you. We have some Women's History Month history for you. And then I'm going to give you right now some updates about upcoming shows so that you can clear out your calendar.
We got some guests coming up.
We do.
Yeah.
And hopefully I won't wrong hole it on those days.
We have some people that we have invited that are hedging a little bit. So
I think that with the current guests that have decided to come and join us, it might break loose the other ones that are set.
Make us look a little legit.
Yeah.
Right.
We've had some legit guests.
have.
All of our guests are legit.
We have politicos and whatnot.
So now that you're
Right.
saying that.
I see that Paul Friel, our friend Paul Friel, is running again.
Yeah. And I have
Yeah.
invited him to come on the show when he wants to.
We'll give a $5 a platform.
We will. And with the redistricting, that district is no longer going to cover the borough of Pottstown,
Right.
but it does cover Fiberland,
Right.
which is Pottstown.
And we like Paul. He's a good guy.
He's good. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's running on some very pragmatic platform, infrastructure, education, environment.
Get busy, Pottstown. Remember he coined that phrase. Get busy, Pottstown.
So I saw one of his ads the other day. He was talking about doing some road repair over
Mhm.
there in South Coventry. There's some roads that need work and things of this nature. So that's what he's running for. I can get behind that.
I can too.
I don't think that those three issues should be partisan. Unfortunately, they are.
I don't know why.
I don't either,
Ridiculous.
but they are.
Right.
But I don't see why they should be. That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
So along those same lines, Joe Cerisi is going to be joining us next
Excellent.
Thursday
We love Joe.
at 6:00.
Excellent.
So tune in to see Joe, hear Joe, communicate with Joe. The chat platform is open every time. You'll be able to ask him questions,
Does he
comment
run
on the
again
things
this
that he's
year
saying.
already?
Yeah,
Already?
because last year he didn't have to run. So this year, every 2 years.
Dang it.
Yeah.
That seems like such a short term.
Yeah,
It really
it flew
is. Like you
by.
barely know, like
Well,
you're barely getting your feet in there,
Yeah.
right?
Well, think about it. Paul Friel came and joined us on the deck and talked about his platform.
All right.
And then shortly thereafter, Joe Cerisi came in.
That was
To-
2020.
Yeah. It seems like it was just yesterday, right?
It doesn't seem like we've been doing this for 2 years, Matt.
Yeah.
2 years
2
next
years.
week.
So that's another
It's our
announcement that we have to
Porchiversary.
make. In addition to Joe Cerisi coming on, it's our 2-year anniversary
Yes.
of Porchcast Pottstown on the 24th.
Yep.
Now, what's the actual day? Joe Rusevich is the owner of this information.
So the actual first Porchcast, which was Matt only, was the 22nd. Because remember, I took that screenshot and I sent it to you.
Okay.
Where are you?
Joe knows it. He had the
Yeah.
date the last time, and I'm screwed it up. So it's the 22nd or the 23rd?
I'm pretty sure here it is, right here. Today was the first episode of Porchcast,
So
March
the
22nd.
22nd.
So that was you
Yep.
on your parents' front porch.
Yep. By myself.
By
With
yourself.
my cell phone.
Yep.
Before we even had all of this fancy dancy equipment.
Yeah. And then I think it was maybe like 2 days later or something that I joined you.
Yeah.
So,
No,
but we will
a
be.
day later. It was just
It
one
was
day.
just one day.
Mhm,
Okay,
I'm
so
pretty
then,
sure.
so the Matt and Amy show.
Started,
the
I believe,
23rd.
on the 23rd.
Okay, so then
The 2-year anniversary.
we're just calling it Thursday. We'll be
'Cause we're gonna be
celebrating
on
it.
the air.
Yeah, we'll be celebrating on Thursday.
And we're going to be here at Pottstown United
Yes,
Brewing
please come
Company.
down.
I will make sure that there's some kind of special. Something will be special.
Something.
Something
Right.
will be special next Thursday for the 2-year anniversary. And then Joe Cerisi will be coming in to talk a little politics
Well,
with
that's
us.
very special, and it's in and of itself.
And it is special because even though we didn't intend the show to be political, it certainly has been a vehicle for political thought and theory and discussion,
Yes.
which is fine with me.
Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of air to fill back in those early days.
Well, and there was so much stuff going on
Mhm.
too. You know what I mean? A lot of important topics and
Right.
things that were really having an impact on the community.
It really kind of seems like a dream. Like it's so like
No,
those
it's
early
surreal.
shows,
I
right?
think
Surreal. That's what I mean. And like those
Yeah.
early shows, with, like in my kitchen with Harrison making his mac and cheese in the background, and
Yeah.
like that. That's like it feels very surreal.
I was like crawling out of bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, getting some notes together, and then
Right.
dragging all the stuff across the street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw Kev the other day.
How is Coffee Smith doing?
Coffee
and
Smith,
Mr. Sticky.
they're doing very well.
Yeah.
Very well. So he's getting married at the end of April.
Wow. Congratulations.
And but Mr. Sticky's is going very well.
Mhm.
For those of you that don't know, Mr. Sticky's is over in the Grove. It's Heritage Drive, whatever that shopping center
right,
is.
Yeah, it's right at the
Yeah.
entrance to Heritage Drive. It's where the Jeep dealership used to be.
Right.
So you turn left at the old Jeep dealership.
Correct. Down to what I call Dentist Row. It's like all those dentists
Right.
down there in Heritage Drive. So there's that little strip mall at the front where there's the pizza place, and Mr. Sticky's is in there. He said they're doing really well. They have looks like they're slowly expanding their food offerings, and they have a lot of drinks, a lot of coffee drinks and
Yeah.
and shamrock shakes and that kind of stuff.
Cool.
So he said it's very, very busy, and they are selling a lot of coffee and coffee-based drinks. So he's doing really well.
Nice.
Very happy.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I feel like we helped him get started.
We spawned,
Remember,
a little baby.
He did. Remember, he was first brewing he was
Yeah.
roasting the coffee in his house.
Yes.
And then he had to look for a place.
Right.
He did that all
Yep.
on the air.
Yep.
I think he took his first orders
He may
on
have.
Porchcast
We'll claim credit
Pottstown.
for it, sure.
I'm going to until he corrects us. He does check in from time to time.
Yeah. So anyway, congratulations to Kevin and Coffee Smith and his business, which is I mean that was a positive thing. He took his stimulus money and started that business.
Yeah, and he got laid off from his job, which he hated. He
Right.
hated the job. He
Yep.
got laid off from the job and was like, you know what?
All right, it's a win.
I'm going to do my own thing.
Yep. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good
So-
for him.
Excellent.
So
All
Joe
right.
Cerisi's on the 24th.
Yes, and then what do we got after that?
2-year anniversary on the 24th.
Yep.
On the 31st, we have Mick Markovich from the Pottstown Police
Chief.
Department. Chief Mick Markovich.
Yeah. So when you were on the police force,
When I first started, I believe he was a corporal
right?
and then became a sergeant,
Right.
like very shortly after.
Was is a detective something different?
No, there's no detective's not a rank in the
Oh,
Pottstown
okay.
Police
Got it.
Department. It's just a job description.
Got it.
So the ranks, when I was on cop, the ranks were corporal, sergeant, captain, chief. They, I think, eliminated the captain position.
What about lieutenant?
They have lieutenants now.
Right.
They didn't have lieutenants.
That's what Mike Long is now.
Right. They probably should have had lieutenants before, but they didn't,
Mhm.
because it didn't make sense that it's jumped from sergeant to captain. Usually there's an intermediary in
Right.
there, a lieutenant.
Yep.
I think they got rid of the captain position and now have 2 lieutenants. So it now goes corporal, sergeant, lieutenant, chief. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
We'll
Well,
talk-
we can ask Chief
we'll ask
Markovich.
Mick.
Yeah.
And if anybody else has any questions
Yes,
for
please.
Chief Markovich, please let us know. I'm going to put a website, or not a website. I'm going to put an email up on the screen. That email is pottstownreports@gmail.com. If you have questions, comments, or critique, please post them
Mhm.
to pottstownreports@gmail.com. Mick Markovich is coming in on the 31st. He's the chief of police in Pottstown.
Yep.
He is very interested in taking questions, comments, and critique from
Right.
the general
Yeah.
public.
So he wants to know what's important to people, what is concerning to people.
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
just general questions.
Right.
Or like,
yeah. Or if you
hey,
just have a general question about like why can't the police do something about blah blah blah? Well, there's probably a very good reason.
right.
Right.
Why haven't the police done this? Couldn't the police do this? Maybe you want to make a suggestion.
Right.
Maybe the cops need to do a certain thing. I just set off my alarm. Anyway, if you want to participate in the show in that manner, you can email pottstownreports@gmail.com.
Mhm.
We're going to send any questions, comments, critique that we get from the audience to our guests from that Gmail address.
Yeah, so we can have
same
some
thing
talking
would go
points.
for Joe Cerisi.
Sure.
If you have something that you want to ask Joe Cerisi or
Right.
say
And-
to Joe
and-
Cerisi,
Joe will be our representative.
correct. for the entire borough of
The
Pottstown.
entire borough of Pottstown, covered by one representative. Speaking of political stuff, I do have an update from Emmanuel. I'll just share that now instead of waiting.
Thanks for
Emmanuel-
tuning in.
Yeah,
Robert
Emmanuel
Bickelman.
wanted. So Emmanuel was our most recent guest on the show.
Yeah.
And where can I find his update? He's having something this weekend.
He's running for the 24th Pennsylvania Senate District.
Yes.
He is one of the Democratic candidates
Okay,
for
currently
the 24th
held
Senate
by
District.
Bob
Bob Mensch,
Mensch.
who is a Republican.
So who's the other? I don't know.
I don't know who the other. It doesn't matter because I'm
Democrat?
not voting for them.
The other Democrat, right? So Emmanuel Wilkerson
I'll figure it out.
is having a. He needs to get 500 signatures to even get on the ballot.
Okay.
So
He
he's
should
having
be
a.
able to get that though, right?
Sure, no problem. So he is having a petition event Sunday at 12 at the Metro 100 Diner. So that is from 12 to 2. He is also doing a door knocking event on Saturday. Let me give you his email. So Sunday is at the Metro Diner from 12 to 2, and
Oh, I have his
door-to-door campaign in Pottstown on
I can do
Saturday.
you better, Amy. I already
Info at.
I put his .com up on the screen.
Oh, okay,
so people
great.
can see it.
Yep, and
And
you can
it's-
also go there to donate money, and if you want to help with the campaign, if you want to help him get on the ballot. So he does need 500 signatures, which I cannot even imagine would be an issue for him to get.
I bet you can't guess what his .com is.
EmmanuelWilkerson.com.
.com.
Yes. Easy enough.
And I just typed in the first 3 letters, and it came up in my Google search.
Right.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut and paste that, and I'm going to put it right in the chat so that people will be able to find it during the show or after the show.
All
You'll be able
right.
to click right back over to that.
Hello,
and
Robert
help him
Bickelman.
get-
Hello, Kathleen Bortz. Thank you for tuning in, everyone.
So since it is St. Patrick's Day, and again, because of St. Patrick's Day, they're having $5 drafts down here at Pottstown United Brewing Company. So if that's something you're into, please come down and support Pottstown United Brewing Company because they support us.
They sure do.
So because
Let us
it's
hog
St.
up a
Patrick's
table
Day,
right here all dang night.
I did a little bit of research
Okay.
on my man St. Patrick, and I have a son named Patrick. So St. Patrick's Day, and my son Patrick is named after Patrick Avenue, which is the street that my Irish grandfather lived on.
Really?
Yeah,
That's so cool. We're like, all right, we got to
there's
come
some
up with a
method-
name.
There's some method to the madness.
What's
here.
his middle name?
Matthew
Matthew Green.
Mhm. So St. Patrick's Day, or the Feast of St. Patrick, is a cultural and religious celebration held on 17th of March, the traditional death date of St. Patrick, the foremost patron saint of Ireland. St. Patrick's Day was made an official Christian feast day in the early 17th century and is observed by the Catholic Church, the Anglican Communion, the Church of Ireland, the Eastern Orthodox Church, and the Lutheran Church.
So it's an official feast day in the Catholic Church. I did not realize
Correct.
that. Okay.
The day commemorates St. Patrick and the arrival of Christianity in Ireland and celebrates the heritage and culture of the Irish in general. Celebrations generally involve public parades and festivals. There's a Gaelic word called Cayley. Cayley means to go visiting, generally.
Okay. How do you
So-
spell it?
In the Gaelic,
No, in the.
Ceilithe, but it's pronounced Cayley.
Kaylee,
Cayley.
like my friend Kaylee. Got it.
And it generally means to go visiting. So that's why it has evolved in the United States to these pub crawls
Got
and
it.
going
To go
around
visiting.
to place and see your friends
So
and go
that
to
part
one
is
house to the other.
rooted in tradition.
Tradition.
Yeah.
The tradition of that is called Cayley, and wearing of the green attire or shamrocks. Christians who belong to liturgical denominations also attend church services. One of the reasons why they did the wearing of the green, like the green flags and the green leaves and the green shamrocks, is because during the English occupation of Ireland, and when the IRA
Watch your.
was fighting back against these people, right? They're invaders, the British invaders. They were all part of the they all wore the same uniforms because Ireland had been part of.
Got it. So they needed to differentiate.
Correct.
So they wear.
So that's
green,
one
right?
of the reasons why
the Irish and the English they don't like
they
know
each
like
other.
you so much.
No.
Right.
Well, the Irish saw the English as occupiers, right?
Mhm.
They just like we wanted to be free from England, the Irish wanted to be free
Right.
from England. And a lot of the Irish, they weren't treated very well
Mhm.
by English landlords. You can
Mhm.
look this up. It goes
Right.
on and on and on.
Right.
And it's very controversial. If you have an English friend, I have an English friend who hates the Irish. But I can kind
runs
of
deep, right?
I can kind of see why
And the
these-
Irish weren't treated so great when they came to America
No,
either, right?
No.
The Irish and the Italians were like way at the bottom.
bottom of the
Yep.
barrel.
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons for the wearing of the green
Mhm.
because they needed a way
To
to
differentiate,
differentiate themselves on the battlefield because they wore the same uniforms. They had the same guns, the whole 9 yards. It's interesting. There's a lot of interesting history in that. Christians who belong to liturgical denominations also attend church services. And historically, the Lenten restrictions on eating and drinking alcohol were lifted for the day, which has encouraged and propagated the holiday tradition.
Yeah, so
of
that's
alcohol
always
consumption.
a really big thing. When St. Patrick's Day falls on Friday, do you have special, what's it called? Absolved
Special dispensation.
dispensation.
Yeah.
Right. You get special dispensation to eat your corned beef,
That's what this is saying.
right?
So sometimes that happens. St. Patrick's Day is a public holiday in the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, the Canadian province of Newfoundland and Labrador,
Oh,
the British overseas territory of Montserrat. It is widely celebrated in the United Kingdom, Canada, the United States, Brazil, Argentina, Australia, New Zealand, especially among the Irish diaspora.
right. And especially in New York and Boston and Chicago, where they turn the river green.
Right. And so St. Patrick's Day, the largest St. Patrick's Day parade occurs in New York City. And that happened today at 11 o'clock. They dye the Chicago River
They sure do.
green.
It is super green.
I think there's probably more Irish people in the United States than there is in Ireland.
There might be. People of Irish descent, you mean?
Yeah, St.
Right.
Patrick's Day is celebrated in more countries than any other national festival. Modern celebrations have been greatly influenced by those of the Irish diaspora, particularly those that are developed in North America. However, there has been criticism of St. Patrick's Day celebration for having become too commercialized,
Just like everything else.
just like
Right.
everything else. So let's get into like why St. Patrick's Day, right? So this guy, St. Patrick,
This guy.
he was Italian. He had some Italian descent. He was of Romano-British descent.
Saint Patricio.
Yeah. So he was probably the son or a descendant of a Roman soldier who was fighting
Got it.
or
And-
occupying Britain,
Right.
right? So he actually got kidnapped by some Gaelic raiders and they took him to Ireland. And then while he was in Ireland, he was a priest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he starts spreading Christianity. He's evangelical. So he's evangelicalizing, proselytizing the Gaelics
Mhm.
who had kidnapped him. And
what were they, like druids or something?
Yeah, right. They
Some
were
sort of
some
like
kind of
old paganish.
pagans.
Okay.
Yeah. Vikings. A lot of
Right.
them subscribe
Right.
to like Viking belief and stuff. So yeah, he gets kidnapped. And we learned a lot of his history. He wrote a book called The Declaration, which was allegedly written by Patrick himself. It is believed that he was
What
born
year? What time frame are we talking about, Matt?
the early 5th century. 5th century Romano-British
That's
Christian
400.
missionary. Yeah, that's 400
Yeah.
in the 400s. It is believed he was born in Roman Britain in the 4th century into a wealthy Romano-British family. His father was a deacon and his grandfather was a priest in the Christian church. According to the declaration, at the age of 16, he was kidnapped by Irish raiders and taken as a slave to Gaelic Ireland. It says that he spent 6 years working as a shepherd and it was during that time that he found God. The declaration says that God told Patrick to flee to the coast where a ship would take him home. After making his way home, Patrick went on to become a priest. According to the tradition, Patrick returned to Ireland to convert the pagan Irish to Christianity.
So he found his way home, became a priest, and then went
said,
back
"I'm
on
going back."
like a mission trip.
Correct.
Right.
The declaration says that he spent many years evangelizing in the northern half of Ireland and converted thousands. Patrick's efforts were eventually turned into an allegory, right? Remember, he drove the snakes out of Ireland. That's the allegory. The allegory is that
An allegory is like symbolism. Is that what that means?
symbolism. Yes.
Did you see? I was
Yes,
like, I
you
don't
were
know what that.
blanking
I was
out.
totally blanking because I wasn't sure what that word meant.
So the
I'm not very
symbolism
smart,
there
man.
is that the snakes
Weren't actually
symbolize
snakes.
the pagans that he drove, the pagan gods that he drove out of Ireland because he converted everybody
Got
to
it.
Christianity.
Here's an allegory: is a story, poem, or picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, typically a moral or political one. So, got it. Gotcha.
So the political allegory there is that the snakes symbolize the fact that he brought Christianity and drove out the non-Christian
Right.
beliefs,
Gotcha.
because there are no indigenous snakes
Right.
in Ireland.
Right. I defy you to go to Ireland and find a snake. You probably have an easier time finding a druid.
Listen, here's one more thing. When you're
Okay.
out and about tonight, okay?
Be careful.
Be careful. Number one, there's plenty of places to walk here in the borough of
There
Pottstown.
sure are.
You should probably walk your ass down here to pub and take advantage of a $5 draft.
Yes.
Right?
Speaking of which, where's JP? We need JP over here.
I'm not
Why-
sure.
He's in the kitchen tonight.
Oh, okay. He's
Adam
working.
is slacking.
When you go out and order your beer, when you mix Guinness and a lighter beer
That's black and tan? Is that what that means?
on St. Patrick's Day,
Okay.
if you want to be a real Mick,
Okay.
you don't ever order a black and tan.
Okay.
Because the black and tan is what they called the British soldiers who were occupying. England.
Don't make that
They were
rookie
called
mistake.
the black and tans.
Got it. Okay. So what
Come
do you
out, ye black and tans. I'll fight you like a man.
So what do you order?
A half and half.
A half and half.
If you want to be Irish on St. Patrick's Day,
Okay.
do not order a black and tan. Order a half and half.
Got it.
Just a little tip.
Little tip for you, folks. Little tip for you. Excellent. Well, that's very interesting. I will admit I knew absolutely nothing about St. Patrick other than the snakes, which weren't actually really snakes. So thank you. That was interesting. I knew nothing.
There you go.
All right. We will
Some
not even
bathroom reading
we
for
will
later
not
on.
even test you. Very good.
So
All
in
right.
addition to, I think where we have slacked this month, and it was really just because I think we were only on the air one day so far this month, right?
Yeah.
We had Emmanuel Wilkerson.
Yep.
He came in
Yeah.
early in the week. Oh, he was in on the 3rd, right?
Today's we were off last week, which was the 10th.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we haven't said anything about Women's History
We
Day.
have not. So, and it's already 6:37. So give us a little background on women's history, and then I'm going to talk about two women in particular. I'm not going to read the pages and pages and pages that I printed out, but I fell down a rabbit hole and was really interested. So,
Okay.
so tell us,
I just go
why
do
do
the
we
background.
celebrate women's history?
Here's why we celebrate Women's History Day, Amy. Women's History Month began as a local celebration in Santa Rosa, California. The Education Task Force, man, I don't know why I'm slurring.
You're
so
tripping
bad.
over your tongue.
I am. The Education Task Force of Sonoma County, California Commission on the Status of Women planned, that's a lot to spit out, planned and executed a Women's History Week celebration in 1978. The organizers selected the week of March 8th to correspond with International Women's Day. The movement spread across the country, and other communities initiated their own Women's History Week celebrations the following year. In 1980, a consortium of women's groups and historians led by the National Women's History Project, now the National Women's History Alliance, successfully lobbied for national recognition. In February 1980, President Jimmy Carter issued the first presidential proclamation declaring the week of March 8th, 1980 as Women's History Week. Now, presidents and Congress after Jimmy Carter kept recognizing it, and eventually it got extended to what we now
Right.
know as Women's History Month.
Right.
So that's the
Excellent.
background, Amy.
Excellent.
I
And
will
so why
say
do
that-
you, yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. This year's
Oh, yeah,
theme-
there's a special recognition. Yeah.
Yeah, so every year there's a theme. The 2022 National Women's History theme is Women Providing Healing, Promoting Hope. The 2022 Women's History theme, Providing Healing, Promoting Hope, is both a tribute to the ceaseless work of caregivers and frontline workers during this ongoing pandemic, and also a recognition of the thousands of ways that women of all cultures have provided both healing and hope throughout history.
Excellent. So why do you need to have a special month to recognize women? Same reason that you need to have Black History Month or any other month
these
that
things.
recognizes a group that is marginalized. It's been 100 years only
Yeah.
that women have, since women fought for and won the right to vote, lots of women got into all sorts of trouble and winning the right to vote. So whenever you have a marginalized group, you need to just say, hey, let's step
There
back
needs to
and
be
look
a
at their,
balance, right? We have to recognize those contributions because they're not always highlighted. They're
Right.
not always recognized.
right.
Here's an example, and I'm not going to pick on anybody,
Mhm.
but I was doing a little Pottstown history research,
Mhm.
and I got a Pottstown history book by a local author.
Okay.
Okay. There was literally 2 pages in the entire book about Black history. So from the beginning of Pottstown to the date that he wrote the book,
Right.
2 pages.
Right. There must have been contributions.
Had to have been.
Right.
Had to
right.
have been.
We've talked about some of them.
And then here's the other thing for
Right.
women. Let's
Yeah.
bring it to women.
Yeah.
Most of the stories in there revolved around white men.
Right.
Now, there was more pages that had women contributions in
Mhm.
them than the Black folks,
Right.
but still not a whole lot.
Right.
Maybe a handful of pages for women's
Right.
history. But the majority of the book was
White men.
white men.
Which is the majority of the history of this country. So I started looking at the Equal Rights Amendment, which was introduced in Congress in 1923, and to this day has not been ratified. So the Equal Rights Amendment was introduced almost 100 years ago, and it has not been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution. The proposed amendment is designed to guarantee equal legal rights for all American citizens, regardless of sex. So that has not been ratified as an amendment. Ridiculous. There are states that have adopted their own equal rights into their own state constitutions, but not on a national level. So I was reading about the 2 women that wrote the first version of the ERA, Alice Paul and Crystal Eastman, and I just want to share a little bit about these 2 pretty amazing women. Dr. Alice Paul was one of the most prominent women's activists of the 20th century. She was ridiculously educated for a woman of her time. She graduated from Swarthmore. Then she got her master's in sociology. And can I have a cider? Cider, thank you. She got a PhD in economics from Penn, and then a law degree from Washington College of Law at American University. So she was tremendously highly educated for a woman of her time, woman of any time, really. And she became involved in the British suffragist movement, and then moved and brought that passion back to the United States after Elizabeth Stanton and Susan B. Anthony died. The suffrage movement was kind of fell off a little bit, and so
Okay.
she revived it and kind of breathed a lot of new life into it after
Okay.
those 2 women passed away. So she was instrumental in women's suffrage here in the United States and getting the vote for women.
And went to a local college, I heard.
She went to
Swarthmore
Penn. Oh, she went to Swarthmore and then Penn.
and Penn.
Yeah,
So this is really local.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even mean it to be local. But
Well,
it
we
is.
got to find a way
I
to
know.
make it at
Yeah,
least
thank you. Thanks,
Pottstown-esque.
Adam. So
So Swarthmore is in Montgomery County.
right. Yeah, well, there you go. All right, I see. I didn't even try. So the getting the vote for these women, for Alice Paul and for Crystal Eastman was like the first, like, okay, that was it. Like, now we have the vote. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
So she went on to continue her quest for full gender equality. And continued fighting for discrimination against women and introduced the Equal Rights Amendment in 1923. So she just was really a force to be reckoned with. The other woman that she wrote it with is Crystal Eastman, who's known as the ACLU's founding mother.
Okay.
I'm just going to read a little bit about her.
And the ACLU is the American Civil Liberties Union,
Yes.
for those that don't know.
So she wrote a speech in 1920 called "Now We Can Begin." Exactly that. Like, okay, now we have the vote.
Yeah.
Now we can actually get to work.
Right.
Now we can actually do stuff.
Yeah.
It's like Levi with his karate. Okay, now you have a black belt. Now you can really learn.
Now you know the basics.
Yeah, this is not the end.
Yeah,
This is the beginning. Yeah, we're
Right.
not. This is just the beginning of our fight. So, as I read about her, which is interesting to me on a personal level because of what we do at our office, she was instrumental in workers' compensation law.
Okay.
And she introduced the first. So she also was a lawyer. She went to NYU Law School, and she was unable to find a position as a lawyer because she was a woman. But despite the setback, she blazed a path to revolutionizing the law in the area of workers' compensation with only a few years. She wrote an article called "Work Accidents in the Law," and arguing that the deck was unfairly stacked against workers who had been injured on the job. Rather than arguing for the smaller fix by asking the courts to change the law, Eastman made the more radical argument that legislature should require employers to share the risk of workplace injuries and compensate workers without requiring them to prove the employer is at fault. That is critical.
Okay.
That is critical. So before that, the employer had to be they had to prove that the employer was at some sort of fault
Yeah, so that the employer had done something wrong.
to cause the injury.
Correct.
That
Okay.
does not exist anymore.
Because of her.
Yes, in
Okay.
part, definitely, largely because of her. So now, if you trip at work, you fall down the stairs.
Yeah, you get hurt
You get hurt
anyway
in
on the job.
any capacity.
As long as you're doing something legitimate.
As long as you're doing something legitimate.
You can't,
and it's
you can't be robbing your place of employment and then sue them because you tripped.
I
You'd have
don't
to be
know.
like-
If you had Levi Wolf as your lawyer, he might be able to argue that.
I don't want to get in on that.
But unlike personal injury, with personal injury, you have to prove that there was some sort of negligence, right?
Yeah.
But you don't. There doesn't have to be negligence on the job. People, they trip, they fall over an open file drawer,
Yeah, sure.
There's
it's an accident.
If you are injured in the scope of doing your job, regardless of fault or negligence, you can get workers' compensation. And this woman was critical in that. So that was interesting to me to learn about that.
Okay.
She drafted what became the first state's workers' compensation law, and that was in New York in 1910, a long time ago. So that was just very little bit about her. What she's mostly famous for is this poem or this speech that she gave called "Now We Can Begin."
Okay.
Can I read some excerpts? I
Yeah,
know
go
we're
ahead.
coming up.
No, you have plenty of time. And there's people watching.
So I'm just going to read a little bit of this.
Go ahead.
What then is, quote, the matter with women? What is the problem of women's freedom? It seems to me to be this: how to arrange the world so that women can be human beings with a chance to exercise their infinitely varied gifts in infinitely varied ways, instead of being destined by the accident of their sex to one field of activity, that is housework and child raising. And second, if and when they choose housework and child raising, to have that occupation recognized by the world as work, requiring a definite economic reward and not merely entitling the performer to be dependent on some man. So that was interesting. I just thought that was pretty poignant. She fought about choice. You want to be a homemaker and a stay-at-home mom?
Yeah, that's
great.
up to you.
But
right?
you need to have you should have the choice for that.
Right.
So we must institute a revolution in the early training and education of both boys and girls. It must be womanly as well as manly to earn your own living, to stand on your own feet. And it must be manly as well as womanly to know how to cook and sew and clean and take care of yourself in the ordinary exigencies of
Yeah,
life.
exigency. It's a legal term. She was a lawyer,
Yeah.
clearly.
I need not add that the second part of this revolution will be more passionately resisted than the first. Men will not give up their privilege of helplessness without a struggle.
So they're saying that men were the helpless ones because we didn't know how to cook and
Oh,
clean.
yeah.
And
Well,
sew,
let me read
right?
you.
That's kind of what she's saying. Yeah.
Absolutely. The average man has a carefully cultivated ignorance about household matters, from what to do with the crumbs to the grocer's telephone number, a sort of cheerful inefficiency which protects him better than the reputation for having a violent temper. It was his mother's fault in the beginning, but even as a boy, he was quick to see how a general reputation for being, quote, no good around the house would serve him throughout life. And half consciously, he began to cultivate that helplessness until today it is the despair of feminist wives. So,
What year was she writing this?
This was 1920.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is certainly not true in my household, but I think it is true in
Levi's a good cook.
the generation before us, certainly.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that like men.
And that is fine if that's the choice
Mhm.
of the woman. My mom chose to stay home and be a homemaker and raise us kids, and that was her choice. And she and my dad had a teamwork.
An arrangement.
A teamwork.
Yeah.
My dad went out to work. My mom did everything else. That was their arrangement.
I think that in years past, like men have learned, like in previous generations, the generations that she's referring to, right? I think men learned how to do those things kind of when they were forced to.
Of course.
Like, because you read about men who were soldiers learning how to darn their socks and fix their uniforms and things of this nature. And then you read about men, same thing, that they wound up in some field, some male-dominated field. Like I think about the Forest Service workers that kind of helped tame the West, and they were living in these huge logging camps.
Right.
Well, there was no women there to cook, so
no,
the
but
guys
they had the Chinese immigrants. That's who cooked for them. Hop Sing. I mean, that's who they had. That was like the stereotype of those movies.
But my point is,
right?
I think men learned that stuff in the past by default,
by necessity. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Right.
Where that was kind of the expected role of women.
Right.
I had this question of you, and I'm only asking you because you are the woman.
I happen to be the woman. I happen to be the woman sitting in front of you.
Yes, you are the female voice of Porchcast Pottstown.
Okay.
If you were to identify in your mind, this is Amy Wolf. I know that you don't speak for all
everybody.
Of womanhood.
Right.
In your mind, what is the number one item or number one issue that's holding women back from gaining these equal rights? If there was one thing, if there was one issue that rises to the top in your mind, what's that one issue that's holding women back?
Men.
Okay, so that's easy.
Yeah, I mean, who's not ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment? The government is still mostly men.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's much more split now, but for the most part, it's still mostly men, right?
So what can women do to take some power from that? I guess that ultimately that goes to my question then too.
Yeah.
If men are true in your mind, again, this is your opinion, if men are responsible for holding women back, if that's the number one issue, what's something that women can do to kind of take some power back from the men and get some control?
That's a pretty big question. I know we're covering. Yeah, it's a huge question. I think that to take power back, I mean, say in order to be equal, like things are pretty equal in my household as far as who does what. We're pretty equal, but you got to have everybody willing to be looking at things the same way. Right. Mm-hmm. And that is just, it's societal.
Right.
So when men are the stay-at-home dad or they're the primary caregiver, teachers still want to call home and ask for mom.
Yeah.
or they still want to talk to mom, even though dads are the primary caregiver. So society needs to change its perception as to who's doing
Yeah.
what roles
So
are being
let's
filled.
say that tomorrow you and Levi decide that you're going to have another kid.
Oh,
You
God.
adopt a daughter,
Oh, God.
right?
Yeah.
And let's just say, so this person's already a living, breathing person, right? They
Right.
come to you. Let's just say it's, a 10, 11, 12-year-old girl comes
Okay.
into your house. What's the first thing that you're going to what's the first piece of knowledge that you're going to try to impart on her in order to help her become a strong and independent woman?
Right. It's hard to instill confidence in a kid if it doesn't already exist in some way, but to be confident and secure that you can do anything, but that you're going to have to fight for it. I mean, I still, every day,
Mhm.
I still deal with vendors and clients and people that do not take me seriously because I'm a woman.
Mhm.
It still
No,
happens.
I've seen this happen. Like,
It absolutely
especially
does.
when I was a cop. You
Right.
know what I mean? I have been on scene, and a female officer has gotten there ahead of me,
Right.
and does not command the same respect.
Right.
And then I would show up on scene, or
Say
another male
and do the
officer,
same thing.
and immediately
different-
there's some compliance,
Right.
that there wasn't
Right.
before,
Right.
or the tone would
Right.
change,
So
or they would be less disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're also like a big giant guy.
Well, I
right?
mean, we can't get
Yeah.
And I know this is controversial in some circles.
Right.
There are clearly biological differences between
sure.
men and women.
Right.
So
Right.
we can't ever escape
Yeah.
that.
So
It's the same
I-
thing for
I-
race. We're always going to see who is black or Chinese
Yes.
or
Whatever.
Asian
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. We're always going to
So
see that.
I would say that just be aware of it.
Mhm.
Does it piss me off? Of course it pisses me off.
Mhm.
But I hope that once I open my mouth and I start dealing with a vendor or a client or something, that those perceptions will be dispelled.
Right.
But just know that it exists, and that it doesn't mean that you have to scream or shout. Just
Mhm.
it encourages me to be even more professional and more well-spoken and more like, okay,
overcome it.
To overcome it.
Mhm.
Is it unfair? Of course.
Sure.
Does it suck? Of course. You want to talk to somebody about unfair, talk to Deb about her career,
Sure.
in a man's world. But I'm very fortunate to have a husband, a father-in-law. Like, I'm surrounded by brothers
Mhm.
that are really.
They were encouraging
I
to
would
you.
say that they are, whether they try to be or not, they're feminists just by the nature of being, seeing things equal.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
that makes
like,
sense.
I think when I hear you say those things, it reminds me of some of the conversations I had with my dad and my grandfather, and about what your work ethic has to be. Now, obviously, I'm not a woman, but as a black man, your work ethic has to be stronger.
Right.
Because any mistake that you make,
Is going to
any
be scrutinized.
shortcoming is going to be scrutinized to the nth degree.
Right.
So I agree with you. I think women, Hispanics, minorities in general,
Any marginalized group.
have to work 2 times, 3 times, 4 times harder.
Right.
Because we are scrutinized.
Right. And
heavily.
there is definitely a double standard.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Look at all the things that men can get away with in politics and
Sure.
and all, like, they can get away with a lot.
And I listen, and I will say this, even as a minority male, I have more power than even a white woman.
Right.
In some
Than the pecking order of,
circumstances.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've experienced it.
Yeah,
And I think if men are going to be honest with themselves, if men are going to be truly honest with themselves, they've seen it too.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're truly honest.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I guess the challenge here, the gauntlet, because we like to throw down gauntlets, is
do.
to our men that are watching the show, try to be more supportive of your woman. Try to look for those ways to experience some of the things that she might experience. And it doesn't mean you have to go out and fix it, because guys want to fix, we want to fix it.
Yeah. It's not about the nail.
But at least if you see it, you'll have some empathy for what your wife or partner or your
Or
coworker
friend or your
or
sister.
friend is going through.
Right.
And that could mean more than fixing the problem, because she'll know that you're in her corner.
Right. An ally, as they say.
Yes.
So look up the speech. It is Eastman, Crystal Eastman from 1920. It is really, really good.
And what's the name of the speech again?
It's called Now We Can Begin. And it was her speech of saying, okay, now we won the right to vote. Now we're ready to get to work.
Right on.
Now we're ready to get to work, because now we can vote, and we can, and women have a lot of power at the polls, right? Everybody wants that. Everybody wants that Karen vote.
Well, think about how hard both parties, but especially in this last election, the Republican Party went after the white female suburban voter.
Me. Yeah.
Right. They wanted the soccer moms.
Yeah.
I mean, and they weren't even hiding that fact. They were going. Trump went out on the platform and said, "I'm talking to you, white women from the suburbs."
Right.
They want that vote.
Yep.
When you hear candidates talking about that on the platform, that's power.
It's a powerful, powerful voting block.
So seize the power.
Seize the power.
Whatever that means. All right. So that's some good
oh my
stuff.
gosh, it's 7:00, and you know what? I haven't gone through my updates.
We have more people watching now than
I
we did
know.
before.
I'm going to bust through my updates. What do you want?
I'm going to try to give me the. I'm going to try to say St.
Oh yeah. Here's your St. Patrick's Day.
I promised that I would try to say
right.
St. Patrick's Day in Irish Gaelic.
In
here
Irish.
I'm going to go. Yeah. Lá Aila Parak Sunadit. Lá Aila Parak Sunadit.
Sure.
Lá Aya Parak Sunadit. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
There you have it. All right. Mike Murphy wants us to know.
Sláinte to Mike Murphy. He's a Mick.
Sure is. And we mean that with the most love.
I'm saying that.
Veterans stand down. Well, you can say it because you're half a Mick yourself.
Yeah.
Veterans stand down Saturday, March 26th. That's always at Veterans Island from 10 to 12 for veterans at Veterans Island Memorial Park the last Saturday of the month. Saturday, May 14th, there is a cleanup at the Veterans Island from 8 to noon, Saturday the 14th of May. It's not that far away, really.
Mike Murphy and I are working on a little project to try to help identify more veterans. And next week, we're going to be having a phone call with April Barr Casey from Cedarville Engineering.
Great.
Who is at least a very powerful woman in Pottstown.
She sure is.
But April has at least tentatively committed to use some of the mapping technology that they have at Cedarville in order to help create some grave maps.
That's so
that
cool.
We know exactly where the veterans are resting.
That's very nice.
We're going to work on that next week.
Very
Mike Murphy, myself, and April Barr Casey.
Excellent. Memorial Day Parade
coming up
has been approved. So that is Memorial Day Parade, and I know he gave me the information on who's invited on that.
We'll get to that because
that's still a
little ways off. But everybody should know there's going to be a Memorial Day Parade.
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
We'll bring you more details to come.
Yes. Exelon has its STEM Academy for girls. 10th and 11th grade girls. So if you have a high school student in 10th or 11th grade, a girl who is interested in STEM, the Exelon STEM Leadership Academy is free week-long program. And you can just go to the Google and Google Exelon STEM Academy. I believe it is free. It is free. Each participant will receive an iPad to use for academy activities and to take home at the end of the week. That's like $1,000 an iPad. Yeah, registration closes April 11th. So if you know a teenage girl in 10th or 11th grade, get on that. That looks really cool. I
We're
wish I
getting
could
a
go.
lot of that type of information
Mhm.
from the school district, from
Yep,
Kelly
from-
Liebel,
Okay.
who's the guidance counselor.
Yep.
So if you live in Pottstown School District, you can contact the counseling office and get more information about how you can
Like
register your
camps and
student.
things like that. There's
Correct.
another camp. I
There's-
think this is for littler kids.
She's been sending out stuff. I mean, it's a steady stream of stuff.
Right. This is the Hill School summer camp. So this is in July, but I don't know when signups are. Summer camps fill up really fast.
They do.
Yeah. So
Is that a Hobart's Run thing, or
no,
is
it's
that
a Hill.
School
It's
thing?
a summer camp. I don't
At
know
the
where
Hill.
this came from. Somebody sent me this.
Okay.
So go to thehill.org/summer camp, weekly camp schedules, 2 weeks in July. First time home buyer seminars. This is Tompkins Vis Bank, Saturday, March 19th. So that's this weekend from 10 to 11, and Saturday, April 9th from 10 to 11. Go to Tompkins Vis Bank website to sign up for the seminar if you are a first time home buyer. They also have that 0% down or 1% down.
1%.
Yep, they're at Tompkins
They're
Vis.
right there.
And
They're
yeah,
right there.
yeah.
So you could actually stop by the bank
Yes.
and probably get
information.
more information.
They're super
as well.
nice. Go see Aubrey or Molly over there.
And because people actually do watch Porchcast Pottstown,
Mhm.
I was talking about Tompkins Vist program,
Yep.
which is a very good program.
Yep.
And someone from KeyBank
Yeah, Bob Renninger.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob's a great
emailed
guy.
me and
Yeah.
said, we have 100% financing.
100%
program."
financing.
Yeah.
That means, Matt, zero down.
Now you do have to be able to come to the table with some money in your
For
pocket. They want some skin
closing
in the
costs
game.
or whatever. Yeah. Yep.
But you can finance 100% of the
So
purchase.
those are two great banks. KeyBank is on the east end of town, and Bob is a really super nice guy. He's a Rotarian also, I
Yes.
believe.
Mhm.
Yeah, super nice. And they also support Pottstown Go Forth, which I appreciate
There you go.
in a big way.
So listen, if you see those first-time home buyer programs coming out from a bank, from a
Mhm.
nonprofit organization, the financial literacy stuff, encourage,
Even if you learn one thing.
do it,
Right.
do it. And I'll tell you, there's some programs that if you complete them, you're eligible for grants. Sign up for those things.
There's money on the table, folks.
And if you really, really need to get pointed in the right direction for where to go, contact Matt Green at Glocker Real
That
Estate.
guy knows what he's talking about.
I can literally, this is no stretch of the imagination. I can get you close to $20,000 in grants if you play your cards the right way. I know the ways.
Right. And the means.
Correct.
The ways and the means.
I know the ways
Right.
and the means. I've
Good.
studied this stuff up. I
Yeah.
am your local real
There's
estate
money
expert.
out there.
I'll help you but get a house.
All right.
But now's the
Uh,
time. My point is now's the
mhm.
time, because if you take those financial literacy classes, you'll find out what you need to do. You're already doing your taxes, right? You're already getting all your vital information
Mhm.
together, which is going to be needed to apply for the mortgage. And you could possibly be getting a return from your taxes, or you could be getting some more stimmy money that
Mhm.
you're eligible for. Why not use it to help buy a house? Even though the home prices are rising, so are rental prices.
You put up a couple of reasonable. You put up a reasonable house this afternoon, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Yeah. There's still reasonable stuff out
There's
there.
still reasonable
Not everything
stuff
is
out there.
completely inflated.
And it's going to be, even a $300,000 house is going to be cheaper than some of the 1 and 2 bedroom apartments that I see getting listed around here.
For sure.
If you're eligible for a $300,000 house.
Yes.
I get that.
Got it. All right. April 23rd is Earth Day. Actually, April 22nd is Earth Day, but it is being celebrated here in Pottstown on April 23rd, which is Saturday. Pottstown Eco Fest and Climate March. That starts, I think, at the Hill School, and then it finishes at Eco Fest, which is at Smith Plaza. Eco Fest is in loving memory of Bill Sharon. That's really sweet. He was a nice guy. I used to see him down at Grumpy's all the time for breakfast. So that Eco Fest is from 12 to 5 on Smith Family Plaza. Also that afternoon is the community cleanup being organized by PTK, which is the Honor Society at Montgomery County Community College. So that's from 11 to 3. No shortage of trash to pick up. April 30th is Edgewood Eddie's Spring Art Fair and Cemetery Cleanup. If you are interested in being a vendor, I'm sure they might still have a couple of slots left. Contact our friend Bronwyn of the Fort.
I think they're
Bronwyn
willing
Tomaso.
to take as many vendors as they
They
can
got
fit into
space.
that area.
They got the space over there. So go to the Edgewood Cemetery Facebook page and you can get Bronwyn's contact information.
There is no one buried under the ground where the festival takes place.
Stop it with that. Like, it's fine. People are going to the cemetery. It's like people used to go and have picnics at cemeteries.
That's correct.
Yes.
I've actually seen pictures of old Victorian grave sites that had benches built into them so that people could go and visit them.
Because that was like before the park system was built.
Correct.
That's what they did.
So you would go and make a day of it.
Yes. Speaking of Earth Day, in preparation for that, our friends at Altas Arboretum and Green Allies are having Household Electronics Appliance and Metal Recycling Day. I look forward to this every year. They are also having paper shredding. So household paper shredding, 3 file-size boxes per car is the limit. They are asking for a $10 donation per vehicle, but you can bring all sorts of stuff. For example, computer towers, tablets, printers, phone systems, ink cartridges, CDs and DVDs, laptops, servers, cords and wires, game consoles, all of that electronics. And TVs and flat screen TVs, there is a slight charge because those are like hazardous waste or something.
Yeah, they have mercury in them.
Yep. Appliance and metal collection. So they are taking washers and dryers, dishwashers, ranges, metal, air conditioners, dehumidifiers, microwaves, anything mostly made of metal is free to recycle. All right.
You're getting some love from your brother.
From who?
Your brother.
My brother?
Yeah, he's watching.
Oh.
John Bragosio.
Thanks, Johnny Cakes. Love it.
He said, really? He said, good podcast, y'all. Great convo.
Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate you tuning in. Pottstown Writers Group, our friend Josh Taylor, has moved the Pottstown Writers Group. It is the second and fourth Wednesday of the month at the library.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're now at the library.
Nice.
Yeah.
I actually have an overlay for that still. I'll put that up on the screen.
All right. Matt,
this was when it was at Savannah, but it's still the Pottstown Area Writers Group with Josh Taylor.
But it is about Uncle Bob coming back from the dead. What are you talking about, Ray?
Is it Ray Amori?
Yeah. What's he talking about? Uncle Bob coming back from in the cemetery. Well, maybe Uncle Bob would be happy that you're there.
Right. Have a chat with him.
Have a little chat.
Find out where he buried all the gold.
Yes. Uncle Bob has some treasure, I think, Ray. Matt, you sent me this birthday buddies looking for a face painter.
So Jen Seville is our insurance.
$75 an hour.
Yeah. Jen Seville at Glocker Insurance.
I think I might sign up.
Yeah, she's the insurance assistant.
Okay.
She's also our social media coordinator. She's also the social media coordinator for Birthday Buddies.
Which
Birthday
is
Buddies
face painting.
Yeah, well, Birthday Buddies does parties for kids. Birthday parties for kids. They have superheroes. You can have Spider-Man, Batman, right, all that stuff. In addition to that, they're looking for somebody to do face painting. They will train the person who does the face painting.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are interested in art, if you're studying to be an art teacher, or you're studying to be a teacher, if you like kids, if you're creative, all of the above, $75 an hour.
I think
tips.
I think I might sign up. So go to birthdaybuddiesinc.com. Birthday Buddies Inc.
They're looking for somebody.
Bronwyn is a great face painter.
Bronwyn?
Yeah.
I think it would be a really good job for kids because it is really a part-time pursuit, right?
Yeah.
You're
maybe doing
you're
doing one party here, one party there.
Right.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
You do 2 parties.
$75. Wait, let me do Porchcast math. That's $150.
Do 2 parties in a weekend, $150 plus some tips for a kid, or just if you're looking for a little part-time hustle.
Yeah.
Go hang out with some kids and paint some faces.
Yeah. All right. Schuylkill River Greenways is having a clean sweep event on Saturday, March 26th. That is at the trailhead at Grosstown Road, I think is. So they just need some volunteers to go and do the first cleanup of the year on the Schuylkill River Trail. Yeah, they'll meet at the Grosstown Road trailhead at 10 a.m. on the 26th. One of my favorite places in Pottstown, the Schuylkill River Trail, a treasure.
I go down there.
And I saw that they
regularly.
were doing the groundbreaking for the Take It Outdoors adventures.
Nice.
Yeah.
Chris Golden and I just took a walk down there the other day. I was doing my laundry over at the new laundromat in Stowe.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new little laundromat.
Okay.
And waiting for my laundry to be done. So we
Took
took a little walk.
Nice. It's a treasure. The 15th of April, Friday night, Bandapalooza at Sunnybrook,
Nice.
featuring the Uptown Band, which played across the street at Rivet last weekend. I
Are they
wasn't
good?
here, but I heard it was
Oh,
really
that's
good.
right.
A bunch of the hood folks went, said it was really good. Groove Masters, which is Benny Sims. He's a Pottstown guy. He's awesome. And Bunch of Funk. So they're all playing next on the 15th of April at Sunnybrook. Bunch of Funk is playing Saturday night at Rivet. We're going with some friends. I love that Rivet, man. I love it so much.
Yeah.
My friends that were there last Friday said the line was out the door.
Nice.
Out the door.
Bringing people
Yes.
to Pottstown.
Bye. The Von Tours were there. You guys were there last weekend for Eric Koala, right?
Yes, we were.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Packed.
Music in our town's great.
I know. I'm giddy. I'm
Yeah.
giddy. See you guys.
Good night, guys.
I love it. Bowling for a Cause is Rotary Saturday 9th, 5:30 to 7:30, or 8 to 10 at J Lanes. I love J Lanes. They're super nice over there. They're very supportive of Go Forth, and Renee and Chuck were just really nice people. So Bowling for a Cause, Pottstown Rotary, 6th annual. It's $120 for 6 bowlers. So that's $20 a piece. Includes shoe rental, 2 hours of bowling, and fun.
Goes for a good cause.
Yeah. Bowling for a Cause.
This is how easy it is to find Pottstown Rotary. Go to Google or Facebook and type in the words Pottstown
Pottstown
Rotary.
Rotary.
It'll come up.
There you go. All right, that's all my news. It's 7:16. We
Okay.
should sign off.
Yeah, so for everybody who's still watching, thanks for hanging in there with us. I do want to remind everybody one more time, next weekend is
Having
the
a hot
two-year
flash.
2-year anniversary of Porchcast Pottstown. We're also having Joe Cerisi on the 31st. Chief Mick Markovich from the Pottstown Police Department will be
We should get
joining
some
us.
cupcakes or something. Maybe I'll talk to Kristen about getting some
We'll do
cupcakes or
something. There'll be some special next week for the 2-year anniversary. If you would like to present questions or comments or a critique to Joe Cerisi, your state representative, if you would like to pose questions, comments, critique to Mick Markovich, your
Chief.
police chief, send them to pottstownreports@gmail.com.
We're waiting for your input, folks.
We are. What else do we have coming down? I have collected some very, very interesting data.
Oh, Matt called me the other night with this data.
Fired up. I have collected some very, very interesting data about the homeless topic in the borough of Pottstown.
Got a lot of people that are eager to talk about it, and we have been hesitant because we would like to be armed
Well-informed.
with facts.
And I have some.
It's a hot topic right now, folks. Hot
I'm
topic.
going to tease you out because Amy and I have some work. We have some research to do.
Yep.
We have to collect the facts. We also need to think about who can come to the show and have a reasonable conversation with us.
Right. Who's the right? Because there's a lot of
There's a
different
lot
people
of
that we
different
could. Yeah. Yep.
I have some ideas, but just to tease you along a little bit, Porchcast Pottstown will be having a conversation about the homeless issue in Pottstown with these very, very interesting facts, data, scientific data
Yes.
that I have been privy to,
Yes.
made aware of.
Right.
Stay tuned.
I'm just very interesting, folks. Very, very interesting. That's all I'm saying.
All right. My name is
All right.
Matt Green. I am your local real estate expert. Please call me when you need to sell or buy residential and commercial real estate in the borough of Pottstown and the surrounding areas. I am often asked, how far out do you go? I go to Berks County, Chester County, and Montgomery County. Those are my areas of specialty. I can go to other places.
Right.
I would prefer to stick to Berks, Chester, and Montgomery County.
Stick to what you know.
Very good in those areas.
Mhm.
No brag, just fact, one of the best. Call me up. Top 15% producer. Top 15%.
Congratulations, my friend.
Call me, Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate. I'll help you out. Amy Wolf is the lovely lady boss over there at Wolf Baldwin and Associates, bringing you fine legal service in the borough of Pottstown since 1973. Call them.
Mm-hmm.
If you have some unemployment issues, if you have some workman comp issues, business contract, I sent Bruce Baldwin.
Need to write your will.
I sent Bruce Baldwin a referral.
Thank you.
Some people that are struggling with some zoning issues.
Ah.
I figured he would be the guy to do that since he
Yep.
does a lot of municipal work.
Yep. Well, he doesn't do municipal, but he could definitely help with zoning. And we have another attorney that is pretty well versed. But we can absolutely help with the zoning issue. No problem.
Wolf Baldwin
Yeah.
Associates. Check them out. We are Porchcast. Let's